It is one of the most recognized images in the world, yet its most famous stars aren't even the main characters. We've seen them on postcards, cushions, and chocolate boxes, two bored, winged cherubs leaning on a ledge. But behind their iconic gaze lies a masterpiece of the High Renaissance that was almost lost to history. Today, we uncover the secrets of Raphael's Sistine Madonna.
Welcome to Story Behind the Painting, where we dive into the most famous art works and learn a lot from that.
To truly appreciate the scale of this masterpiece, we have to look at the physical reality of the work itself. The artist, Raffaello Sanzio, famously known as Raphael, was at the peak of his career when he took on this project. He lived from 1483 to 1520. The timeline. The piece was painted between 1512 and 1513. This was a year of crisis for the man who likely commissioned it, Pope Julius II, as he navigated devastating military defeats and political shifts in Italy. The medium. While many Renaissance altarpieces were painted on wood panels, this is oil on canvas. Interestingly, historical analysis suggests the canvas was once folded over at the top, hiding the curtain pole until it was rediscovered during a restoration in 1827. The dimensions. This is a massive, life-sized vision standing 269.5 centimeters high by 201 centimeters wide. Its composition is built on a rhombus shape, with the heads of the Virgin and Child at the top peak and the two famous cherubs forming the base. The current home. Today it resides in the Gemäldegalerie Alte Meister in Dresden, Germany. It arrived there in January 1754 after a grueling 2-year negotiation and a dangerous trek across the Alps in the heart of winter. It was in Dresden where the painting's celebrity truly exploded, eventually becoming one of the most prized icons of European culture. The scene is a celestial vision. At the center, the Virgin Mary emerges from a cloud of ghostly angel faces holding the Christ child. Mary's forehead rests against her son's cheek in an intimate pose. Their expressions are unusual because their eyes are wide open, as if looking at something frightening. Many believe they are seeing the future, Christ's brutal end on the cross. On the left, Saint Sixtus kneels with his papal tiara resting on the ledge. He is depicted with a shaggy monk's tonsure and a beard resembling Pope Julius II. He points outward, perhaps toward the congregation or a crucifix that once hung opposite the altarpiece. On the right, Saint Barbara looks down with a serene, modest expression. Her hands are folded chastely over her breast, and her gaze is lowered. According to legend, her father imprisoned her in a tower where she added a third window to symbolize the Trinity. The tower is visible between her back and the curtain as her identifying attribute. The entire scene is framed by heavy green curtains drawn back to reveal the heavens. Curtains mark the upper limit of the composition and introduce distance between viewer and saints in heaven. At the very bottom, two putti appear with chubby cheeks and playful yet bored expressions. They balance the painting's rhombus composition by countering the heads of the Virgin and Child at the top. Though they seem bored, their plump corporeality helped make this painting one of the most famous in the world. A theater of war. In April of that year, the army of Pope Julius II suffered a devastating defeat at the hands of the French and Milanese forces. In this era of turmoil, art wasn't just decoration. It was a tool for political and spiritual power. It is concluded that Julius commissioned this altarpiece from Raphael on the occasion of Piacenza and Parma being won for the Papal States. The monks of the monastery church of San Sisto were to be left in no doubt as to whom they owed their picture. Raphael even included symbolic political messaging in the work. The top of the papal crown, the tiara, is adorned with oak leaves and an acorn which formed part of the family coat of arms for Julius II. Like all Renaissance popes, Julius II spent vast sums on art and architecture to advance the fame of the church and serve the purposes of religious edification. However, art was also used to enhance his public image with grandiose works, as holding onto and expanding his papal states meant protecting himself from powerful neighbors like Venice or Milan. The man behind the curtain was Pope Julius II, known as the Warrior Pope. Julius was a significant patron of the arts, having already commissioned Raphael to decorate his private library and audience chambers in the Vatican. He commissioned this specific altarpiece to honor his late uncle, Pope Sixtus IV, which is why Saint Sixtus bears the Pope's own likeness, right down to the shaggy monk's tonsure and specific style of beard favored by Julius. At the time, Raphael was at the height of his powers. Born in Urbino in 1483, he spent his career carrying out massive decorations for the papacy. He was a central figure of the High Renaissance, and while other masters like Michelangelo were known for a more brooding style, Raphael was celebrated for his noble simplicity and quiet grandeur. Interestingly, Raphael was even suckled by his own mother, a detail mentioned by the historian Giorgio Vasari as being highly unusual for the time, perhaps contributing to the unique maternal tenderness often found in his work. This painting was one of the last major masterpieces he completed before his untimely death at the age of 37. Raphael's greatest contribution here was a feat of visual engineering. He moved away from the stiff, formal poses of the past to create figures with deep human emotion. Notice the Virgin's expression. It isn't one of joy, but of a mother whose maternal happiness has been supplanted by a wide-eyed seriousness. This emotional depth suggests she and the Christ child are seeing the future, his brutal sacrifice on the cross. Beyond the emotion, the painting's perfect balance defined the academic tradition of European art for over 300 years. Raphael utilized a rhombus composition, where the heads of the Virgin and Child at the top demanded a pendant at the bottom. They are perfectly counterbalanced by the two winged genii, or cherubs. By the 19th century, new reproduction techniques turned these individual figures into global icons. Resourceful entrepreneurs extracted the cherubs from the canvas, embedding them into everything from poetry albums and embroidery patterns to cushions and towels. Through these supposed angels, Raphael's work transitioned from a sacred altarpiece to one of the most prized and reproduced icons of European culture. From a monastery in Piacenza to a royal collection in Dresden, and even a secret tunnel during World War II, the Sistine Madonna has survived it all. It remains a testament to Raphael's genius, a bridge between the human and the divine captured behind a green curtain. Today it stands as one of the most prized icons of European culture, a masterpiece that survived being taken to Moscow in 1945 before finally returning home to Dresden in 1955. Thanks for watching MUZEA. Which part of this masterpiece is your favorite, the Virgin's haunting gaze, or those world-famous bored cherubs? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to explore more masterpieces like this in person, download the MUZEA app today. It's your personal guide to visiting the greatest museums and art galleries worldwide, bringing the history of art right to your fingertips. Download MUZEA now and start your journey.
Welcome to Story Behind the Painting, where we dive into the most famous art routes and learn a lot from that.